On today's episode, I talk with former soap opera star Sonia Satra. Sonia's going to tell us what it was like to be a soap opera star. And then we're going to find out why exactly she gave up her career as a soap star. Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to Beauty Radio Network, talk radio where we talk with interesting people doing interesting things. This is your host, Deanna Lynn. Today I'll be talking with soap opera star Sonia Satra. Many of you may remember Sonia from her TV roles on such soap operas as The Guiding Light and One Life to Live. Sonia is an actress turned motivational expert and certified health coach who now specializes in personal transformations for women by integrating the mind, body, and emotions to create lasting changes. As the founder and CEO of Moticise, an award-winning lifestyle wellness program that combines movement with mindset, Sonia travels the world helping people to reach their own personal greatness. Today, we're going to be asking Sonia what it was like to be a soap star and how her career led her to her fun new adventure. Yep, we're going to be talking about her new adventure. Plus, she's going to share with us her science-based Moticise program, a program that can help you create powerful changes. So now, if you're stuck in a rut and you're feeling blah, girl, it may be time for you to kickstart your life. Sonia's adventure retreat is way more than just another ordinary wellness spa. And it may be just right for you. So join me and celebrity fitness and holistic health coach Sonia Satra as she tells us all about her new project, an adventure retreat that uses adventure, fun, and her science-based Moticise program to create powerful changes. It's the newest wellness spa in the country, and it opens in Scottsdale, Arizona. Her new desert adventure opens in February 2019. Hello, Sonia. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you here today. We're going to have a fun talk, I hope, today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and I'm excited to be here. I think this will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited about your career and about your new project. Now, you were an actress. You're an actress and a life coach. Am I correct?
Yes, that is correct. And
All
fitness trainer, too, actually. We'll throw that in there.
Okay, so you're a life coach, actress, and fitness trainer. Wow, what a resume there. Before we dive into the meat of our topic for today, I want to chat because I know the listeners are going to want to hear about this. So let's chat a little bit about your career as a former soap opera star. You appeared on some of the biggest and most popular long-running daytime soaps, like, what was it, Lucy on The Guiding Light and Nurse Nancy on One Life to Live?
Nurse Barbara. I always call her Barbara.
Nurse Barbara, okay.
Stop typecasting.
Yeah, there must be a Nurse Nancy out there somewhere. Actually, I think it was a serial killer. So why will
that's a guy, but that's okay.
Oh my God. Okay, so what was it like? I mean, some people would consider that a dream job. Did you work long hours? Can you tell us what it's like just to be on a soap opera every day?
I mean, it really is an amazing job. I feel so grateful for having had that opportunity. It was fun. It's like having a family. You go through your own little soap operas, I think, on and off set. But it's a really wonderful, supportive, talented group of people, and we have a lot of fun. Yes, it can definitely be long hours. They have what they call front burner and back burner stories. So when you're in a front burner, you're very much highlighted. And then your story is one of the main focuses. And then you work a lot. You can easily work, 5 days a week and, 10, 12 hours. And then you got to go home and memorize all your lines for the next day. So when you're in that front burner. You're working. But then there are times when you work 2-3 days and you're only in for a couple of hours, and it's like a vacation. So, it goes back and forth. There's an ebb and flow.
Yeah, I would imagine it could be kind of stressful, especially if you had a family. Do you have a family?
I do have a family now. I didn't then, though. So that definitely, for the people that had young kids, that it was a lot because, it's a full-time job, and then it's full-time at night, and then being a parent is a full-time job. So
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
we had a lot of kids coming in and hanging out on set after school, before school, or whatever the case. So yeah,
I would imagine after a long day of hanging around, getting on set and stuff, going home and then trying to memorize those lines, and then don't you have to practice the lines somewhere?
You do, although you do get opportunities to practice. It's a little different from one life to live to guiding life, but basically you would come in early in the morning and you would do what they call a dry run. So this was your opportunity to get it all out, be bad, be awful, run the lines for the very first time with whoever you're working with. And you're just in a room, like a conference room. You're not even on set. And that's where you also get blocking. So you learn where you have to move for each of those lines. So you do it, once or twice, or sometimes 3 times if it's a little complicated, if it's a big scene with a lot of people, just so you have the blocking down. Then you would go into hair and makeup. And then when your scene comes up, you would go up on set, then you would do a rehearsal, and then you would do a dress rehearsal, and then you would film it. And you kind of got one take, unless it was just awful. I would say it was one of the biggest learnings that I had on the soap. If it's just going horrible and you really don't want it to air, you kind of just start cursing because they can't put that on the air and then they have to cut it. So it became a really bad habit. But by and large, you got the one take unless they really felt there was a need to do a second one.
Great. Well, it sounds like an amazing experience, but a lot of work. So now,
yeah.
I want to get into what you're doing now. How did you transition? And are you still acting?
So I would say yes, I am. I'm not pursuing it the way that I used to pursue it. I mean, that used to be my sole focus, and now focus a little bit more on my business and what I'm currently doing. But there are opportunities that come up, and I have taken a few of them. I did a pilot, which didn't go, but might still come back around. And then I also just recently had a wonderful opportunity to play Gloria Steinem in the history of Playboy on Amazon. So that was super cool.
Wow, really? That is really exciting. All right,
yeah.
So I know we want to talk about what you're doing today. What led you how did you transition into being a soap star to being a life coach? Tell us about that.
So it really was a bit of a slow process of acting. When I first started, I was all optimistic and went out to Hollywood, had no experience or any idea what I was doing. I just went into it as if I did, and with the belief that anything is possible. Somebody made it, so why couldn't I? And after doing that for a couple of months, I realized that you get rejected a lot in that industry. Like sometimes, several times a day, for any number of reasons. You're not tall enough, short enough, pretty enough, talented enough, funny enough, the right person enough. And so I realized that you were really going to need a strong mindset to persevere and to really stick with it. And so I started to study mindset as much as anything else. I read books. I came a Tony Robbins junkie. I did the forum. I did something called Heart Math. I did hypnosis so that I could do hypnosis on myself. And I had a life coach before anybody even knew what coaching was. And so I really got into that whole personal development field. I loved it. I was fascinated by the mind and what what it could do when you really focused it on what it was that you wanted, and power of visualization. Gosh, I used that so many times, not just as an actress with characters, but as an actress to get jobs. Like, there was one example. I was up for a pilot. They were doing a remake of the Bonanza series. How old is that? I had taken a few English horseback riding lessons, so I knew how to post a little bit, but I really wasn't a horseback rider. And I definitely didn't know how to do Western, and this was a Western, so you had to know how to do that. And we auditioned on horses. And I swear I got that job because it started to rain in the middle of my audition and nobody wanted to stand up there. So they saw me post a couple of times across the course, and they were like, that's good, come on in. And then I ended up getting the job.
Wow.
But then I got on set and I, didn't quite have the horseback riding abilities. So they weren't thrilled about that, but they gave me some lessons. And in the lessons, I was like, I gotta learn how to horseback ride like overnight. And I'll never forget, because they were really unhappy one day. And so the next day I was like, I just have to know how to do this. So I did the lesson, and then I spent 4 hours just visualizing on and off the whole rest of the night, what it was supposed to look like, what it would feel like. I watched a couple of videos and I just get it into my body. And I sat there and imagined horseback riding and doing it right and saying my lines and everything exactly the way I wanted it to be. And I got out there that next day, and it was almost out of body. It was as if my body was doing something that it knew how to do, but I didn't know that I knew how to do. And
wow.
it was like it elevated my horseback riding exponentially. I mean, I certainly was no expert, but even they were like, what happened? What did you do? I was like, just visualized. And everybody was amazed, self included, but it saved the job. And it was just such a powerful lesson to me, how the mind could work. Anyway, that was a big segue to how I got to where I'm going.
Although it was absolutely very interesting.
Yeah, and I would use it all the time. And I would do affirmations, and I would run. There was one point when I came back, I had decided to leave guiding light. And then I went back to LA, and this time I didn't go back with that same optimistic belief that anything was possible. This time I went back thinking, oh my gosh, I'm never going to work again. Why did I quit that job? That was just fluke. Who was I to leave such an amazing job and go back out into the world and just expect another one? And so I really struggled for a long time. And I had another one of those ahas around mindset tools, because I realized, I used the same mindset tools to create success as I was now doing to create the failure. Like, I had envisioned success, I had envisioned failure. I was using positive self-talk. I was using really negative self-talk. I was embodying success. I was suddenly walking around as if I was never going to work again. And I got those results. Like, the results I got were directly in correlation to the mindset that I had. And so I really loved mindset. And after One Life to Live, I met my soon-to-be future husband, and we got married, and I ended up back in New York. And while I got pregnant with my daughter, and while I was pregnant, I thought, maybe I'll just get a life coaching certification just for fun. I really love this. I think because I knew a lot about it and I had used it so successfully, people had asked me a lot of questions about it. So I thought maybe I should just learn how to do this for real. And so I got the coaching certification, and I really enjoyed working with people. So when I had my daughter, I went back to acting, but it was also life coaching. And then I ran into somebody who was a speaker. And I was like, really? You could speak for a living? Who knew? And so I started to speak on some of the things I was coaching on. And I really loved that, because that was almost a bridge between acting and coaching. And so I went down that path of doing all three. And then I was kind of feeling like I was doing nothing really well. I wasn't being the best mom. I wasn't being the best speaker or coach. I wasn't being the best actress, because I was spread so thin. And, and so at a certain point, I thought, I'm really loving helping people transform and change and helping them with the tools that would made a massive difference in my life. So I decided I was going to give that a go. And I walked away from acting at that point. I walked back again a little bit later, but I really walked away. And it was in the speaking coaching time that I discovered that you could really implement these things into exercise. And when you exercise, a really cool thing happens in your brain. It opens up and a protein's released that creates these new neural pathways. You can actually change or rewire your brain. And so I started to use some coaching questions and visualizations and affirmations in exercise. And that was really the beginning of Moticise.
Yes. And I do want to get into motorcising. I know you've been very successful at your life coaching, but for the listeners, there may be some of them out there that don't exactly know what a life coach does. Can you first explain that to us?
Yeah, it really helps you, identify what it is that you want. Often people will come when they're feeling a little stuck. So they'll take a look at what's causing you to feel stuck. What is it that you really want? And then it taps inside to that inner intelligence that we all have. And by prompting a series of questions and through a series of exercises, it helps pull out the answers that are specific and right to you. And from there, you create action items so that you can go out and do it. And then there's an accountability, and sometimes you'll have a lot of success, and then sometimes you get stuck or you plateau again. And so there's this little archaeological dig, but it's really about starting where you are and moving forward into what you want to be, and tapping all of the strengths. I always say people have so much more than they realize because we're so used to thinking about the things that we don't have. So it's almost it's like a practice in pulling those out and helping people realize the strengths they have and the answers that they have to go on the path that they really want to go. And people often ask the difference between that and therapy. Sometimes it crosses because sometimes some of the things that block you are from your past, undoubtedly. But you don't live there. I think therapy is when you really need to go back to a period of time and sort of dig deep and unwind all of that to make sense and have some understanding around it. We'll do that to some extent, but we won't stay there. It's more of, okay, we have an understanding. Let's pull it apart a little bit. Let's pull what we can out of it and move forward. So if you have something that's really, really that's in your past that you haven't dealt with, probably therapy is the way to go. If it's something that comes up and causes some stuckness or some doubts or, some negative beliefs, that's something a coach can absolutely work with to help you overcome.
So in essence, people book appointments or sessions with you and you kind of guide them through the process of powerful, positive thinking. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely positive thinking, but it's very specific to each person. No session looks the same.
Right.
Just learning a generic positive thinking.
Right. You're changing your mindset, in other words, to something more positive instead of beating yourself up. And we do need help with that. I know it's always nice to have somebody, that can listen to us and help point out the positive parts of our life.
Often we don't even realize what we're saying or doing. So when you have somebody reflecting that back, you're like, really? Did I say that? People say that to me often. And I think the other thing that I find with coaching is people will come to me for one thing, and it usually is about something else. So they're also working on some problem or saying that they have one problem, and it usually there's something else going on. And so it's also just uncovering the core of what that is, and so that they can make it through that and get through what they really want to get through to where they really want to go.
Right. Well, it sounds like you have a lot of interesting things that we could talk about, but we don't have a lot of time. So I'm going to jump right into telling people about your new project, and then we'll talk a little bit about what you based your retreat on, your new project on, the exercise, because I do want to get into that. But first of
Yeah.
all, tell us about your new project, which is your retreat and spa, where people can live life like an adventure, you say, and what was I going to say? Sorry. Where people can live life like an adventure. Okay, where is it located? And how is it different from any other spa?
I'm so excited about this because actually one of the things that came between Moticise and after coaching Moticise was these empowerment adventures that I would go on. And we would do a coaching workshop around a specific theme, and then we'd go embody it. So I think because of my acting, I'm all about the mind and the body. It's one thing to think it. It's another thing to really get it into your nervous system, your muscle system, like every part of you to really embody it. Venture is one of those I have found for me in my life. It's just one of the most ways to embody lessons. And so in these adventures, we would do things like letting go. What is it that you need to let go of that's holding you back? And then we would go and embody it and repeat. You really have to let go, or riding the currents of your life. And we would go out and kayak to the Statue of Liberty. So we would ride the currents of the Hudson River and all of the obstacles that come there and hit many milestones. And we would take all of these life lessons and get that we had done in a workshop around a specific life goal and get them into your body. So it's a really, really fun and powerful way to make huge transformation, to really, really get it on all levels. And so this retreat is in February. It's February 7th to the 10th. It's at the Civana Resort in Arizona, just outside of Phoenix. And we're going to just have tons and tons of fun. We're going to do different coaching workshops, and then we're going to embody it in different adventures. So one of them is going to be rappelling, another is going to be kayaking, and then the final goodbye is we're all going to go off in a hot air balloon
Wow.
and take our lives to new heights. And so we'll be learning a lot, we'll be uncovering a lot, we'll be having a lot of fun. It's for all levels. People have asked me that. They're like, but I don't know how to do that. And that's almost the best, because there's no preconceived notions of what it is, and you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to know how to do it. It's basic instruction, and you do what you can do, but you will accomplish things you never knew you could. And it's so supportive, and it's fun, and we laugh and we learn, and we really step outside our comfort zones. And once you do that, whatever problems you thought you had, you're like, that's nothing. I can't handle that. And so that's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun, and it sounds like an adventure. Will there be other spa services there also?
Yes, there are. It's a beautiful resort, so you'll also have your chance to engage in self-care and get massages and do aromatherapy if you want, or just hang out at a beautiful pool or go to a sauna, and we'll do some Moticise. And yeah, it's a full couple of days of both adventure and self-care.
And probably great food, huh?
And delicious food, really healthy. Yeah. It's an awesome reset if that's something you want to reset. Really healthy. And if you're in any of the cold weather states, it'll be really nice because it'll be warm.
Right. That dry desert climate is so healing. When you go to Palm Springs, as soon as you feel that, it just feels like a sauna, like it's so healing.
It really is.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to open February 7th. Can people start booking reservations now?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. They can. If you go to my website, soniasatra.com, actually, I'll send you to Moticise, Moticise, Moticise.com. We have a link to it. And yes, and if there's any questions, you could just reach out. I'm happy to have conversations with anyone who is interested or their curiosity is piqued. They want to know if it's right for them. They can just call me and I will be happy to talk anybody through it.
Great. Now, I'm going to put a link in the show notes. So if you're listening today,
Great.
If anyone out there is listening today and they want to check it out while we're going into the second half of our show here, you can click on that link in the show notes and go right there and go through her website and continue listening to the show today. So our second half now, I want to talk about the basics exercise of your, I guess it's your retreat, how it's called Moticise. That's what I want to talk about. So tell us exactly what Moticise is.
So Moticise it's a hybrid of, if you break it down, the Moti is from motivational and the size is from exercise. So it's motivational exercise. And I kind of like to describe it as a cross between a life coaching and a fitness class, because it really, I guide people through different processes around goals. One of the ones I have a DVD for is called Mindset Reset. So if you're ever needing a mindset reset and you want to work through a process while you're exercising, it will take you through a variety of different questions. So you'll visualize the goal, so you'll really see it. You'll step into the future as if you've already done it. Then we'll look at what you have, because like I said before, one of the most underestimated questions and so powerful to uncover all that you already have. And then from that place, we'll look at what you need, and we'll look at what's stopping you, what kind of blocks are coming up. And then we have a little belief burning fit process, or we'll just dump those. And then from a place of, if you had no fear, if anything was possible, what's an action that you would take? And then you actually visualize yourself doing the action. And then we'll have a little celebration and a cool down and a meditation at the end. So it really is a full process that you get to go through, and it's all around you and what it is that you really want to achieve in any part of your life. People think it's just fitness, and it can be fitness, but I've had people create business ideas. I've had people overcome relationship things. I had a woman who had a huge breakthrough around her daughter who had passed away, and she was holding on to stuff that, in order to keep her daughter alive, and realized that's not at all what her daughter would have wanted. And she was already doing great work in terms of raising money for her foundation. But so she had a huge release and letting go, and it really opened up. She's not just published a book. So it opened up a whole new life. I have had people lose full dress sizes. There's a woman who went from like a size 23 to a size 12 by really visualizing and looking at these different pieces of that puzzle. And so I had somebody do it and walk out and get a client. They're like, wow, this really works. So, I mean, any area of your life, it's just that we don't always put that time and focus into really breaking it down. And here you get to do it at a time when your brain is wide open. So often people will watch TV, which is how I came up with it. I was watching really bad TV, and I was like, I'm feeling more angry and depressed about watching bad news while I'm working out. Like, there's got to be a better way, something more inspiring. And that was really where I came up with the idea. And then there's all this research that supports how open your brain is and how you're super creative and focused, and you can learn right after exercise, and while you're exercising, it's the process begins.
So you're brainstorming and imagining the life that you want as you're moving.
As you're moving, and I relate a lot of the movements to things like, we might do forward lunges in terms of what's one step that you could take. So you're also locking in ideas to the movement, or what's one thing you can pull in, and we'll do a motion like a bicep curl or something where you're pulling it into your life. Like I said, we do this little burning thing. It's what's this jump in your burning things, and you visualize it all sort of going up in flames. So it's somewhat, I don't want to say choreographed completely, but they're definitely anchors where you could do that same move later on in the day and it would instantly bring back that thought, that feeling. And so it's a great tool that you could use at any time in your life when you want to access that inspiration, that motivation, that vision.
Right. Well, when you say the word feeling, I've noticed when I feel something, when I really feel it, it's when it comes into my life. So feeling has a lot to do with it. Yeah, exactly.
So much. And, for people who don't love working out, it's actually one of the things that wasn't an intended benefit, but really what it turned out to be. They really like it because they're not thinking about the exercise. They're not thinking, I've got 30 seconds more. I've got another, 20 reps of this. They're thinking about something that really makes them feel good, that they're excited about. And then this sort of added adrenaline and all the endorphins that already automatically come when you exercise just highlight that.
And now, are we talking about a strenuous exercise?
Well, there's different levels of it. The Mindset Reset definitely has a high cardio, but you can do the low impact. You don't ever have to jump, low impact. And I always tell people just do what you can, because just listening to it and going through the mindset piece is equally as beneficial. So do it low impact and build as you can.
Now, you do sell DVDs of Moticise, right? Called Mindset Reset. Where is that available?
Yeah, it is on the site, moticise.com. It's also on amazon.com.
Okay. So it says here, in the Mindset Reset, you go through 7 steps towards achieving one goal that will put you closer towards your ideal life. Wow, that's pretty powerful here.
You visualize those actions so that, because visualization, your body doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's imagined. So by imagining it, you're training, you're getting your body used to doing exactly what you want. It's like you're training it, which is what happened to me in that horseback riding. I was just imagining it, but if you had hooked my brain up, the same light centers would be going off just imagining horseback riding or achieving a goal or going through an action as the real thing, as if I was really on a horse. It's pretty fascinating. Now we have the ability to actually look at the brain and see what that is. But that's why athletes use visualization all the time, because it's training yourself for that. It's getting it wired into your system. So we use that a lot around your goals and your action steps. See yourself making that phone call. See yourself sending out that email. See yourself giving that talk, or see yourself in whatever situation it is that you want, and see it working the way you want it to.
Yeah, it's just so interesting how that really does work. Now, I know you've already given us a couple examples of how your program has changed people's lives, but those stories are so interesting. Can you just tell us a few more stories or give us a few more examples?
Yeah, I think some of the ones that I mentioned, there was a girl that came up with an Etsy business. In the process of doing it, a girl who was working through her entire book. She really wanted to write a book, but was afraid. She actually did the trapeze first and then started doing Moticise classes, and she worked through her entire book doing Moticise. And she now has an agent, and she's it's out there, so it's very exciting. She's really made some great headway. I had somebody go through and sell their company, and some of the strategy that they came up with to get 8 figures came from the Moticise. I've had people work through family issues in the class. I have had people lose weight. Somebody just recently lost 49 pounds. So that was very exciting, and she's really transforming it, her life in such a huge way. I've had people decide to switch careers. I've had people get clients because they strategized about what it was that they wanted, and one happened just as they walked out of the class, but others have happened through some of the actions that they came up with in the class. So it ignites ideas and creative ideas. And again, I think what I'm a big believer of is it's so specific, because somebody could tell you to do something, but when you come up with it from your own, sense of what's right for you, it's so much more powerful. And it 99% of the time leads to great results. Once you tap that, you really can be unstoppable.
Well, you've made me a believer. Are the classes, does this work for men and women? Are your classes for both sexes? How does that work?
It is. I think the DVD tends to gravitate more towards women, because I think women often tend to like fitness DVDs. Same with probably fitness classes, although I have had quite a number of guys come, and I've also done it in conferences for full groups of men. And I was, the first time I did that, I was like, is anybody going to show up? And it was standing room only. And they were so interested, because especially in business, they're always looking for, what are some mindset hacks? How can I get the advantage? And using your brain, using your body in a totally different way can really create tremendous results. So I would say it's for both. I think my initial going out was that women would probably be the people that would gravitate, but I've had quite a number of men really, really love it.
And the men are welcome to the retreat?
Yes, they are. So if they want to come for a fitness / self-care retreat, an adventure retreat, it's fun. And I think a lot of guys don't think of going to retreats because they think of it as, just a massage or getting your nails done. And it's not. We're actually going out. We're going to be doing some really, really cool stuff.
So it's all the stuff a typical spa has, with services and more. Wow. Sounds amazing. So before I close out the show, Sonia, is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I think I'm just really excited to share some of these things. If you're interested and you want to know also what else is coming up, we have some Moticise programs that we're going to be offering online if you want to access it that way. So check out the site, moticise.com, and come live life like an adventure. It's going to be really fun.
All right. Wonderful. Well, I've got all those links in the show notes. Good luck to you. And thank you so much for being on today. I've enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Take care.
Bye-bye.